Hello, this is Guy McPherson, co-author of Extinction Dialogs, along with Carolyn Baker. Thanks to Tayen for publishing Extinction Dialogs, an inspiring project which took Carolyn Baker and I relatively little time to write because the dialogue we had in writing the book was so inspirational. Extinction Dialogs is my 12th book. My scholarly efforts have, in addition to the 12 books, produced hundreds of articles. My 13th book, for which I just signed a contract not long ago, will be coming out soon with co-author Pauline Schneider. It's a work of fiction, my second work of fiction, this one titled Ms. Ladybug and Mr. Honeybee, a love story at the end of time. So Extinction Dialogues, as with Ms. Ladybug and Mr. Honeybee, are written from the perspective of conservation biology. I'm a conservation biologist, I write from that perspective, and I focus on the demise of many, many species as a result of industrial civilization. A major inspiration for me and for my work is Edward Abbey, the writer, iconoclastic philosopher who spent many years in Tucson, Arizona, as did I. Edward Abbey was sometimes called the desert anarchist. He was an anarchist. He received his master's degree at the University of New Mexico in philosophy. And in that experience, he came to view himself as an anarchist. I should point out that anarchism is not chaos. Chaos is the absence of rules. Anarchism is the absence of rulers. Edward Abbey has a couple of great quotes about anarchism, and I'd like to mention one or two of those here. In addition to being an anarchist, a philosopher, and a great writer, Edward Abbey is an inspiration because he wrote from a similar perspective as me. He wrote from the perspective of conserving life on this planet beyond human life. He was, in his own way, a poet, a philosopher, a scientist, and a conservation biologist. Edward Abbey was an inspiration in my earlier days with his strong influence on my anarchist tendencies, and he still remains an inspiration long after his death in March of 1989. Among the many inspiring things Edward Abbey had to say about writing is a quote that is only 8 words long and takes advantage of the different spellings and meanings of the word right.
Right, right, right good, right wrong, right on. Edward Abbey, the desert anarchist, is credited with writing a great line about anarchism, and I quote, "Anarchism is not a romantic fable, but the hard-headed realization, based on 5,000 years of experience, that we cannot entrust the management of our lives to kings, priests, politicians, generals, and county commissioners." Anarchism is founded on the observation that since few men are wise enough to rule themselves, even fewer are wise enough to rule others.
For me, from my anarchist perspective, writing Extinction Dialogues with Carolyn Baker was an exercise in taking responsibility for myself, for my actions, while also having a wonderful conversation, what I think is an inspiring conversation. It really is a dialogue between two people who are interested in speaking the unspeakable, between people who are genuinely interested in having that genuine conversation that we rarely have in this culture. How to Live with Death in Mind. The subtitle really says a lot about the book. In the spirit of nature batting last, you can hear the crows cawing in the background. I appreciate that. I hope they aren't too disruptive for this video. Thanks for following along this far, and I look forward to engaging you in conversation after you read Extinction Dialogues, How to Live with Death in Mind.